Just when you thought it couldn't get weirder, here we go. We are going to return to the top story of the hour, and that is the White House this morning saying the idea to dump migrants in sanctuary cities was suggested, considered, and quickly rejected. Here's what the White House said then. This is a non-story, except I guess they forgot to tell the President of the United States because he has his phone. He's tweeting, and look at what he just said moments ago. He said the following: due to the fact that Democrats are unwilling to change our very dangerous immigration laws, we are indeed, as reported, giving strong considerations to placing illegal immigrants in sanctuary cities. Only the radical left always seems to have an open borders, open arms policy, so this should make them very happy. It's hard to be speechless in the Trump era, but this is remarkable. He is doubling, tripling down. He is taking the criticism that he is getting and owning it, and never mind making the people who work for him even more uncomfortable and even more, first of all, looking like they don't know what they're doing and that they're not matching what he's doing. But more importantly, the notion that he is saying, no, I actually am considering this, making this so incredibly political and so in the face of anything that is remotely humanitarian is remarkable.
The White House officials that I talked to last night at 11 o'clock at night insisted that this was not going anywhere, insisted that the legal advice they had been given the second time, not to mention the first time that it had come up, had driven a stake through this thing. And so, you know, the idea, I mean, look, what appeals to the president, I'm certain about this, is not even just the substance of the policy, but the political retribution that he clearly sort of seems gleeful about taking, and that's what appeals to him. And whether this will ever happen, I think is unlikely. But
so as you're talking and as we're digesting this on live television, I'm actually thinking about the fact that in some ways, although the content of what he's saying is so outrageous, this is classic Trump. To be outrageous, to be the most outrageous he can possibly be in order to try to find something, some middle ground that may be more towards his liking, but certainly less outrageous than this idea of taking migrants and dumping them in sanctuary cities.
To some degree, we've seen it before as kind of a negotiating tactic. I think it's probably far more likely that he's just trolling everybody, and I think that's always something to remember when he says stuff like this, is that he's trolling you. And I think to Shira's point, the important thing to remember here is lawyers at the agencies that are relevant to this matter made very clear this is not something they want to do, this is not something they should do, this is not something they can do. If the president wants to move forward with it, and I'm a little bit skeptical that he actually does, he's either facing large-scale resignations or maybe bigger problems there. And again, that's if you're taking it from a purely reality-based.
And just to be completely Pollyanna-ish, this is something I was trying to get at with the vice president yesterday at the border. This is a real problem that needs a solution. And when you're saying outrageous things about wanting to take people and dump them in sanctuary cities, instead of saying, you know what, guys, come over to the White House, let's roll up our sleeves, and let's fix this. It's irresponsible. And it's been irresponsible on both sides, but it's on him right now.
And I'll tell you what this makes me think now. This is a grand opening of the door for these 2020 Democratic presidential candidates to start talking about this issue in a serious, substantive, in-depth way. We've seen them take shots at the president, to be sure, but Julian Castro is the only candidate in the field right now that has his own independent immigration plan. And you've got to think that that changes now because of the way Trump is handled.
And he was talking about this last night. He was here on CNN. He had a town hall, and he certainly took advantage of it.
And you just put it in the context of what has also happened in San Francisco when it comes to immigration and sanctuary city policies. Obviously, we know San Francisco is where Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker, is, but it was also really where 4 years ago the debate, this really emotional, contentious debate over sanctuary cities flared up because of the murder of Kate Steinle in July of 2015. So this issue has been just so sensitive, and obviously the president just really inflamed it so much more.
And again, catnip for the base. Certainly not the way to actually find a governing solution in a place where you saw and I saw this week firsthand needs a solution. You're talking about children who are being abused, and it's pretty horrible.